Thought is an infection. In the case of certain thoughts, it can become an epidemic. So that's Wallace Stevens, and the first game for today is Infection, Humanity's Last Gasp. And this is a board game turned computer game, and it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the board game. You have to stop a viral outbreak, and in order to stop a viral outbreak, you have to have the proteins to analyze and create the right combination that will stop that mutation of the outbreak. So it's highly relevant to current world events. That's kind of why I chose it at the time. So in the meantime, you hope to contain the virus and prevent further mutations. So every turn the virus hasn't been eliminated, there's a chance that the infection will spread in this game. And if you run out of proteins, or if the virus spreads too much, you and the rest of humanity is doomed, and it'll just keep spreading and spreading, and the world will be utter chaos. So the graphics look decent, and while they're initially impressive, the GUI tries to look sophisticated, but it's not very user-friendly to new players. And that was sort of like the issue I had with this game. I tried to play it, and I'm like, I don't fully understand what's going on here. I understand the viruses, I know we're trying to synthesize proteins, but then I had to come back to this game, and I had to come back to it 2 or 3 times just to be like, am I just like, as someone that's not into RTS and like board games, or even, you know, the video game version equivalent of board games, is this just me? And it's like, no, it seems like a lot of people struggle with this game as well. So unfortunately, like, the impending doom just does not translate well to the virtual game here, the virtual version of the popular board game. It's not very engaging. You can't feel like the impending doom so much as games like Plague Incorporated. So yeah, because it's based on a board game, the way they've designed it is there's tons of pop-ups, and there's very slow progress. Like, the game is very boring and feels glacial. And it's not like where Plague Incorporated, there's sort of like alerts, and like you can feel like there's a struggle going on. With this game, it's a bit more like, okay, there's an issue. You don't feel like you're pressed to solve the issue as much as other games. So protein harvesting, it seems to be random, and your choice seems pretty meaningless. And unfortunately, like, despite the sleek graphics to this game, it seems like the game is randomly number generated. So there's almost no strategy involved, even though it's based off of a board game where there should be strategy involved. Which is a shame, because, like, you know, it seems like sheer luck if you're going to win that round. And there were cases where I was playing, because I played a number of rounds over the last few weeks, and I'm like, oh, I managed to stem the spread of the virus. But unfortunately, it's like the game randomly then is like, hey, you've got a severe outbreak, and hey, look, you know, the game's telling you, you are kind of screwed, and like, it's gotten a lot worse. And like, it totally seems like a random case where suddenly things got better, things got worse, things got really bad, and just you're sort of hanging on, just like hoping the game will let you provide like a minor cure and stem it from spreading. So the game is priced at $10.99. I feel like at most it's a brief excursion of like $2 or $3, which is a shame, because these play games, as I said, in 2022, they're highly relevant. We're still knee deep into COVID, whether our world governments want to admit it or not, and it's still a big issue years later. Let's say, what is it, 2-3 years later, and we're getting other issues like inflation. So this game's really relevant, but unfortunately, because the way this game's designed, it seems like a random, it's just gonna happen randomly, and like, it's hard to have a clear strategy other than just hoping that you get the random values that will let you stop this plague, or rather the virus. So yeah, like, world-ending games are now popular, and I think this game sort of pops up a bit more since it came out a few years ago. It's just the problem is the game is not fun for the end user, therefore it's hard to recommend it. I guess I didn't really give it a score. It feels like a 5 or 6, maybe a 6 out of 10. It's not horrible, and like you can play it for briefly, but like as I said, you're probably not going to play it long term because everything seems to be random with this, and like your success and like failure is totally random, and it's not so much strategy based as pure luck. So good luck, in enjoying this game and stemming the infection. So keep on game. Ciao.